the whole Russia-Ukraine situation going on, I haven't posted, it's been a little while. And, I've just been trying to stay low, just see what's going on, take care of myself, my wife, and everything. Just kind of be quiet with the whole thing. I do have ties with Russia. I've got family I've got over there. I've got friends over there. I don't know if there's anything that I could say that would get them in trouble. But, I'm just trying to... I don't really want to talk about the whole thing, but, I just got to say a few things about the whole situation going on over there. I'm not picking sides. Obviously, I'm not going to do that. But the whole war or special operations going on over there, in my opinion, the whole thing could have been avoided, and both sides could have done something which would have avoided the whole situation. But there's nothing we can do about that now, because it's already going on, and obviously you can't change the past. So what do we do now? Well, to me it seems like both sides are escalating. Obviously you've got Russia that's escalating, and you've got NATO that's escalating. The United States, being the main party in NATO, to me it feels like they're feeding the war machine. It feels to me like the United States is being the antagonist. They keep supplying Ukraine with weapons, money, and all these supplies and everything. It's not just the United States, it's NATO in general that's supplying Ukraine, a non-NATO country, a non-US ally. They're supplying this country with weapons, gear, money, support, all this kind of stuff. When it's not a NATO member and it's not even an ally of the United States, to me it feels like they're doing this intentionally to heighten the situation. The United States and NATO could back out of of helping Ukraine. As horrible as it might sound to say that, to stop helping Ukraine. As horrible as that might sound, guys, that's the only way this is going to end somewhat peacefully. You've got Russia who's proven to back their word. They're not all bark and no bite. They're all bark and all bite. They've proven that they are going to do what they say. And when you've got a country like the Russian Federation that is threatening nuclear war or nuclear weapons as a retaliation to NATO's continuing support of Ukraine, and NATO is just laughing at them and, basically continuing their support or even ramping up the continuation of support. You can't tell me that NATO and the United States are desperate for a war with Russia. To me, it feels like they're starting the war with Russia. NATO pushing further east, closer and closer to Russia. Yeah, Russia's already got NATO members that border their country. Russia doesn't want any more NATO countries bordering them. They don't need that. They don't want that. But NATO insists on continuing to go further east, and it's like putting Russia, pushing Russia into a corner. What happens when you corner an animal? They attack. Okay, now hear me out. You have to think of the other side. You can't be one-sided mind on this whole situation. You've got to look at both sides. You can't just look at the one side because you're only getting part of the picture. You have to look at both sides with an open mind. Because I do have connections with Russia. I do have family from there. I do have, I have Russian heritage. I'm going to look at that side as well. And I understand why Russia is doing what they're doing. I'm not saying that I agree with it, because Russia did not have to go into Ukraine. They did not have to. They weren't going to implode if they didn't go into Ukraine. I'm not agreeing with that. But I'm also not agreeing with NATO in the fact of they're supporting a non-allied, non-NATO country when it's just completely unnecessary. It's completely unnecessary, and it's escalating. And to me, like I said, it feels like the United States and NATO are the ones that want World War III. They want a nuclear war because they're just laughing in the face of Russia and their threats. Stop helping them, and then the threats stop. Yeah, Ukraine might be taken over, but you know what, guys? That's a Russia-Ukraine issue, not a NATO issue. Yeah, NATO has no obligation to help Ukraine. As horrible as that sounds, helping Ukraine is only making the situation worse. And it's making it a lot worse on a worldwide scale because of the food situation, the natural gas, the oil. Stop helping Ukraine, and all of that could have been avoided. As bad as it may sound, you have to look at it this way, or you have to at least try to look at it in that light. Try to understand both sides and realize what is actually going on.